Recently, I've been watching a lot of videos about how much money you need to live comfortably in the Philippines. And what I noticed is this: everyone is asking the wrong question. So I decided to test this. I asked first ChatGPT to help me figure it out. But even that didn't understand where I was really going with this. But after a bit of back and forth, and then finally after checking my thinking with Copilot, I finally arrived at the real questions that you should be asking. And they're not about money at all. Let's go and unscramble this. Hello and welcome back to Scrambled Eggs Because It Matters. I'm Phil and welcome if you're new to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at that question that is so often asked. So many videos are addressing this, but I think they are asking the wrong question. And yes, I did ask ChatGPT and Copilot to help me figure out exactly what are the right questions that you need to be asking. And I got it down in the end to one question that you should be asking. And it isn't anything to do with money. So let's go and see what we actually did. Let's unscramble everything that I was trying to do. Okay, so I opened up ChatGPT and I'm using ChatGPT because ChatGPT doesn't know me at all. And so I wanted a clean slate using an AI that doesn't know anything about me. I hardly ever converse with ChatGPT, so that's what I decided to use. And I just put in a basic statement. I'm moving to Batangas in the Philippines in 3 weeks' time. I will have a monthly budget of 70,000 pesos. It's actually slightly more than that, but I took 5,000 out for bank charges and that kind of stuff. So let's try and break down my budget. Will it be enough for a comfortable life, especially given the war in Iran? Let's start with my lifestyle. Now, I put that in because that is the question that most people and every YouTube video that I've seen has asked. How much do I need for a comfortable lifestyle? So I started with my budget and said, will that be enough for a comfortable lifestyle? So ChatGPT did what it does, and it immediately went into ranking me. And it broke it down several times, and eventually it broke it down into three little categories: a simple lifestyle, 30 to 45k, local apartment, small house, mostly Filipino food cooking, jeepneys, tricycles, and occasional treats. It didn't actually use much criteria to actually tell me that. So it said you'd live very comfortably on 70k if you're in this category and save money. A balanced lifestyle, which it said you are likely here, nice apartment or a small house, not luxury, mix of cooking and eating out, aircon used regularly, Western groceries sometimes, some travel, social life, 70k, comfortable, stable, no stress. It told me that I was likely here. And then finally, we had the westernized high comfort lifestyle, 90 plus. I'm nowhere near that, according to ChatGPT. Condo or high-end house, frequent dining out, imported food, alcohol, regular taxis, regular travel, taxis, and comforts. On 70k, I'm going to feel very restricted on that. It placed me quite nicely in the balanced expat lifestyle, 50 to 80k. Not happy with that. I really want to be in the local simple lifestyle because there are a number of factors that I now wanted to engage with ChatGPT. So we went through and I added in, and eventually, I had to slow down ChatGPT because it was going ahead of itself. So then I decided to tell ChatGPT a little bit about myself. It didn't know me at this point. So I said, okay, I don't drink, well, not very much. I don't smoke. I eat 2 good meals a day. I'm 68 years old and have no need for nightlife. I enjoy being at home cooking, and I run a YouTube channel which keeps me busy, and I have just begun another one which will keep me even busier. I also write books which I enjoy, although these hobbies make me no income. I do it for the love. I have 3 adopted daughters and an army of extended family in the Batangas area. The girls are grown up and all working and need no support, although I do only when I can. Next, I will break down what I know in terms of monthly outgoings. So now I wanted to tell AI what my actual lifestyle was, but AI went off on its own thing. Eventually, I was able to tell ChatGPT that a family house, 15K per month, 3-bedroom, fully furnished, looks fabulous, very near to the SM Mall and also not far from markets and the immigration office. I have subscriptions totaling 1,000 pesos per month, phone and VPN, which I will keep going. So we are locked in now at 16,000. Also, I want to save 15,000 per month. ChatGPT now is going to start to panic because of that savings goal, and it mentions it several times. So ChatGPT went through everything and then came up with a really nice budget, and we'll come to that in a moment. It factored in things like groceries and electricity and water and Wi-Fi and everything it thought that I would likely need, and tried to keep me within that particular budget that I had now reduced following the deductions that I'd locked in. So eventually it arrived, and we'll get that in the end. Eventually, after a long chat, because the problem with ChatGPT is that it goes off on its own. You can see how long this took. And eventually we reached at my monthly budget. And we can see we've got rent 15,000, subscriptions 1,000. These are all locked in. Wi-Fi 1,500, Netflix 400, food 7,500, electricity 4,000, although I suspect that might be a little bit more at the beginning. And then we have water 500, we have data 500, transport 2,000, visa extension 1,500 a month, which of course I only do that every 2 months, so it would be 3,000, might be a little bit more, you never know. And a savings of 15,000, and ChatGPT said now our total is 48,900, a remaining buffer of 21,100. The buffer covers family support, household extras, small treats, and unexpected costs. I wasn't happy. I wanted to add more to what ChatGPT was doing. So after going through and adding to it, because I wanted ChatGPT to eventually say I'm going to be uncomfortable, so I added some more items like an emergency fund, and that gave me a total then of 54,900. And I then decided, right, let's add some more, because I'm determined to get ChatGPT to take me out of comfortable. But ChatGPT didn't take me out of comfortable no matter what I did. It kept updating it and saying that I would be comfortable. And eventually we arrived, I couldn't think of anything more, and we arrived at everything that I had put in. And what I'd added was a holiday fund of 8,000, a weekly treat fund of 4,000, weekly barbecue and a couple of beers, probably cost me 500 once a week, and an emergency fund of 6,000, savings 15,000, you know all the rest. And eventually we came out at a total of 68,400 from my 70,000. And that left me with a buffer of 1,600. And ChatGPT refused to say that I would not be comfortable with this, and actually talked about flexibility. I didn't ask about flexibility. I told it I wanted them locked in. But ChatGPT then immediately wanted to talk about flexibility, and because of the flexibility of the things like holiday fund and family fund, etc., that would make me very comfortable. So broke it down, and eventually said to me that you're going to do very, very well. So I wasn't really happy with this, but I could not in any way persuade AI, this ChatGPT, that I wanted to be uncomfortable. ChatGPT, because it didn't know me, was going to be nice to me, and that's what was actually happening here. It was being nice to me. So what I did then was I took all this information and I put it somewhere else. So the question is, why did I switch over to Copilot? Well, I have a kind of working relationship with Copilot. I've been talking to Copilot for about 2 years on all sorts of things, and I debate quite regularly with Copilot when I don't understand something. Now, Copilot knows me very, very well and does not always set out just to keep me happy. This is the difference between Copilot and ChatGPT. And usually, Copilot will fight back against me. And often the phrase that Copilot will use is like, whoa, we need to take a step back here. When I say something that conflicts and makes Copilot want to contradict what I've been saying. So Copilot has no fear of contradicting me. So what I did was I fed all the information that ChatGPT had given me, that entire thread, and I asked Copilot to analyze it. A Copilot came back to me and said, basically, take a step back because you are misleading the other AI. Basically, that's what Copilot told me. You are asking the wrong questions. So I turned to Copilot and said, hold on, what if I'm asking the right question and everybody is asking the wrong question? At which point I got that thinking little thing on Copilot, which it does quite regularly. In actual fact, it's not thinking. What it should read is analyzing. So Copilot analyzed what I had just said to it. And then what surprised me was the Copilot came back to me and said, actually, you're right. Maybe the other YouTubers are asking the wrong questions. And Copilot then decided, actually, you shouldn't be asking about money at all. And then came up with this: the real questions people should ask before moving to the Philippines. And let's go through these questions. And the first one is, what do I actually do with my time? If your daily life is built around my daily life, because Copilot knows me, my daily life is built around writing, creating, reading, walking, filming, quiet routines. She told me you'll thrive if that's what your life is built around. If your life depends on nightlife, constant socializing, Western entertainment, shopping, stimulation, you'll struggle. Copilot already knew me and knew where I fit. The next question was, do I need external entertainment to feel fulfilled? This is the boredom test. So if you need bars, clubs, cinemas, malls, events, your costs are going to go up and satisfaction will go down. If you're content with creative work, simple routines, nature, quiet, personal projects, you'll be fine. Number 3, am I comfortable with simplicity? The Philippines rewards people who enjoy slow mornings, simple food, quiet neighborhoods, small pleasures, and routine. If you need constant novelty, you're going to feel isolated. This is a really important one. Just read that again. The Philippines rewards people who enjoy, rewards people. So the more content you are with simplicity, the more reward you're going to get. And then the next question that you should ask is, how much social interaction do I actually need? Some people need a big friend group, expat circles, weekly meetups or daily meetups. And others, like you, because as I said, Copilot knows me, thrive with a small circle, meaningful connections, family contact, online community, and creative solitude. So your social needs, it told me, determine your emotional stability far more than your budget. The next one, number 5, do I have a purpose or project that anchors me? People who move abroad without purpose get bored fast. People who move abroad with a book to write, a channel to build, a craft to develop, a routine to follow, a creative mission, even just hobbies that they like to do, photography or walking or anything else, rarely feel bored or isolated. Copilot knows me and said you are in the second category. Number 6, how much do I rely on Western comforts? If you need imported food, Western brands, constant aircon, high-end restaurants, premium coffee shops, your budget explodes. If you're happy with local food, simple living, occasional treats, and practical comfort, your budget stretches beautifully. Number 7, and this is the big one for me. Am I emotionally self-sufficient? And in fact, Copilot said this is the big one. I didn't see that before. People who need constant external stimulation always struggle abroad. People who can enjoy their own company, create meaning internally, build routines, stay grounded, and find purpose and meaning in small things, thrive anywhere, not just the Philippines. And as Copilot knows me, it said to me, you are firmly in this group. So I had got Copilot to totally rework its thinking, to stop thinking about money, but to think about comfort in a different way. And the most important ones are, am I emotionally self-sufficient? And am I comfortable with simplicity and having things to do with my time? Because the biggest cost that you will have if you move abroad is boredom and isolation. And those are emotional things that need to be in place before you can even think about moving abroad. I actually then went on to ask Copilot, can you put that encompasses everything into just one simple question? So instead of asking, do I have enough money to feel comfortable? Can you make a question out of what you've said? Just one question that people should ask before they even start thinking about money. And Copilot did that. And what Copilot asked and said to me, this is the question that anybody needs to ask right at the point that they are deciding they want to leave the UK or anywhere else and move abroad. Will I be bored and isolated on the life that my budget creates? Now, if I go back to my budget, I have spent every single peso pretty much. I kept adding to it and I kept adding to it. And this is where ChatGPT's flexibility came in. Because in that, actual expenses, money that I am going to spend in the month, is around about half of the actual budget, just over half of the actual budget I have. Everything else goes into a family fund, savings, travel fund, and things that I wouldn't necessarily need, but I just wanted to use up every peso. Flexibility now, based on the questions that I've asked and answered with Copilot, becomes really important because I can shift that 30,000 pesos around as I please. And that is the key. So the questions that I need to ask myself is, am I emotionally in the right place to leave, which I am? Do I need high-end comfort? I don't. And finally, have I got the flexibility now within my budget that I can move money around without affecting my emotional state of mind? Because that is where people will fail, not because they don't have enough money, but because emotionally they're not in the right place. So the correct question to ask is, will I be bored and isolated on the life that my budget creates? Hope you found that interesting. I know I did for the 2.5 hours or so that I played with AI on this. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. And this has been Scrambled Eggs because it matters. I'm Phil. And all that remains to be said now is just stay safe, be strong. And if you are thinking about moving abroad, just ask the right questions. See you in the next one.